Hey guys, Jared with the Vinyl Corner, and today I'm going to be doing another collection update. So yeah, I do these pretty often. I like these type of videos. I kind of want to keep doing them raw from now on. The last time when I did that collection update, I really enjoyed doing that raw. It seems a lot better for these types of videos. It's more conversational, more open, so I'm going to be doing that from now on, unless I make a mistake or something like that or have to edit it. But yeah, I got a lot of cool stuff this month or so since I got that last collection. I went to the beach and stuff like that, so I'll tell stories as I go along. But for the first ones, these are just a couple of random things that I had ordered or pre-ordered. This is Mayhem's De Mysteries Dom Satanas. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry, I'm stupid. But yeah, obviously it's a classic black metal record. I just didn't have it in my collection yet. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I believe this is a 2012 Back on Black pressing, but this is actually on like a translucent purplish. It's like plum colored. So yeah, this is just a classic black metal record. A lot of people start their journey with this genre, either with this band or specifically with this album. I know it was one of the first black metal records I ever listened to, personally speaking. So yeah, changed my life. Black metal is obviously like one of my favorite genres now. I'm not as in depth with it as many people, but it's a genre I'm starting to explore a lot more over the last year or so, and it's been super fun. And then the next thing, this is Wilma Vitra with Bird. This is a Fat Beats pressing, I believe. Actually, no, it's not. This is the Bandcamp pressing that was on Bad Taste Records. Yeah, this is a UK press. I just forgot to take the wrapping off this one. But yeah, I also, over the course of the last month, decided to take all of the shrink wrap off of my records just because, yeah, that stuff is kind of concealing after a while. So I stopped doing that. But yeah, like I said, this is a Bad Taste Records press. This was limited to 500 on the Bandcamp. I know Fat Beats also did a pressing, but I just happened to order it before this one, before the Fat Beats one went up. So yeah, this is just a great like neo soul kind of abstract hip hop record. Infuses a lot of just really interesting ideas. I haven't seen a ton of people talking about it personally, but I think it's a great record. It isn't going to make like my top 50 albums of the year or anything, but I just feel like this is going to be one of those gems that people who are especially into abstract rap look back on in a couple of years and think that they missed out on. So that was pretty cool. Like I said, I directly ordered that off their Bandcamp when it came out, so that was pretty cool. Same thing with this one. This is the new Full of Hell record, Weeping Choir. This is just an amazing death and grindcore album. I don't know if the video's been uploaded yet, but my top 25 albums of the year, this is on there. This is just a great record, and this is like a gold, black, white splatter, silver splatter. This one was limited to 1,000, so yeah, just a great fucking record. If you're into your death metal, your grindcore, and some noise stuff, definitely check this one out. Relapse is a great label, obviously. They've been putting out a lot of cool stuff for a while. And then it comes with like this little poster fold out that has all the lyrics. So yeah, just great stuff. I try and keep up with the metal releases from the year that I like, just because metal stuff is so hard to get once it goes out of print. And then the last thing in terms of pre-orders and stuff like that, this is Ariana Grande's Thank You Next. Again, if you guys saw my top 25, if I uploaded it by then, this was pretty high on the list. I'm not the biggest pop guy on the planet, but this record just really stuck with me. It's a double LP, it's on black, so I'm not going to show that. This is the standard edition. There was like a deluxe edition that had the normal pink cover, but I actually prefer this black border cover. So yeah, just great pop music, really well written, very mature, and her and Pharrell's chemistry is just immaculate. So that was pretty cool. And then I think the only other Discogs thing that I purchased, this is Nico, Death and the Maiden. I've been really into my bootlegs recently, and I've heard a lot of things about this one. It seemed to have an interesting track list, so I went ahead and pulled the trigger on it. And yeah, this is just really cool. It's like one of those compilation type bootlegs where it's a bunch of stuff from random places. But yeah, this one's on translucent blue with the solid white labels. So yeah, you know, Nico, amazing artist, very troubled. She had a lot of negative mindsets. The fact that she was a Nazi hurts my soul, but again, I always try and separate art from the artist. So yeah, this is just an awesome bootleg. Lots of cool stuff. There's some John Cale and her live stuff on here, which is always awesome because her and John Cale are a great combo. So yeah. The next two things came from Siren Records. I had to be near there for some work stuff, and I grabbed some stuff while I was there just because I was bored and had the extra time to go to Siren. The first one is Chocolate Watches Band's No Way Out. This is just an amazing psych garage record. It's obviously not an original. This is a Sun-Dazed reissue on this beautiful, like honey, like yellow orange translucent vinyl. So yeah, you guys know me, I like my psych stuff, I like my garage stuff. This was just a classic I didn't have, and I guess Siren recently started doing a straight garage rock section, because the last time I was there, that was not there. So yeah, that was really awesome to find. This was super cheap, it sounds good. So yeah, originals of this are like $1,000 or some stupid shit, so definitely not going to be getting an original one of those for a while. The next one, this is another kind of like psyche classic. Sorry I keep having to like take these shrink wraps off, but like I said, I was going through my collection this whole last month, taking them off just because it's kind of weird to think about the future, like if this like constricts or warps the vinyl, because I do have a lot of records and I've listened to all of them, but it's like sometimes they sit and it's like kind of scary for me to think about them warping from like the plastic wrap or whatever. But yeah, if this plastic wrap will ever come off, that would be absolutely fantastic. But yeah, the next one is Cluster with Cluster 2. This is a 2007 reissue, I think. This was like a Russian reissue. It also came with this Obi strip, and it comes with a CD as well, but I let my one friend borrow it because he had never heard this album and it's not available anywhere. So yeah, this is just some awesome, again, like psyche, like the krautrock stuff. Yeah, I just didn't have any Cluster records. I've been looking at, especially for this one for a while, because this is my personal favorite Cluster record. So yeah, again, originals of this are like 150 to like $300 if I remember correctly, somewhere in that range. And not trying to pay that for a record. There's certain records I would pay a decent amount of money for, but others I don't know about it. I would probably have to trade for certain things like that. But yeah, just a great record, really spacey, really psychedelic, focuses a lot on building ambience and atmosphere into crazy psychedelic explosions. So yeah, this is just a great record. Hadn't owned it and I was very happy to find it. Definitely going to be going back to Siren and checking out that garage rock section more, because there was a lot of great stuff in there. Also stopped by Double Decker Records and picked up a couple things while I was there. I went in for specifically one reason, and I'll show that in a minute. But the first thing I picked up is Company Flow, Little Johnny from the Hospital. This is just a great instrumental hip-hop album. I don't feel like people talk about this one enough. I'm a huge Company Flow fan, huge LP fan, like that whole camp. Just absolutely awesome. This is an original 2000 press on Raucous, if I remember correctly. So yeah, a lot of people seemingly don't enjoy this as much as their other works, but I find it to be pretty great. I listen to this one a lot when I just need some like background music, and it's just really suitable for that. It also actually still has the little mail in order thing right there. So yeah, this was really cool. I think this was like $10, so it was in the new arrival section. I was like, absolutely. I wasn't even thinking about like picking this album up, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, there's no way I'm not gonna leave behind an original for $10. The next thing I picked up at Double Decker is an original pressing of Love's Out Here. This is just a great record. A lot of like the later Love stuff, like Reel to Reel, doesn't get talked about enough in my opinion. Even this one doesn't get talked about. I mean, Love in general just doesn't get talked about enough. But these later ones especially, I rarely hear people talk about. And like I said, this is an original on Blue Thumb Records, so yeah, this is in really nice shape. I think I paid like 20 bucks for it, and that's about what it goes for in VG Plus shape. So yeah, it looks like it was only damn near played once, besides the little cut in the corner, which I was completely fine with because it's so minute that you can barely notice it. So yeah, this is just, like I said, amazing record. If you're into psychedelic rock, like that whole early era, late 60s era stuff, definitely give this one a go, because Love is one of the greatest bands ever, and people need to start talking about them as much as like the Beatles and shit, in my opinion. And this was the reason I went into Double Decker. This is a King Crimson bootleg. I cannot pronounce the title of this, so I'm not going to try. But yeah, this is a King Crimson bootleg from the Lark's Tongues and Aspic era. They perform all of Lark's Tongues and Aspic on here, and they also close with 21st Century Schizoid Man. So yeah, this is on the amazing Corny Phone label, which is a pretty well-known bootleg label. They usually do pretty quality stuff. So yeah, I've been, like I said, really into bootlegs recently, and obviously I'm a huge Crimson fan, so this was pretty cool to see. I saw that they had posted some crazy stuff on their Instagram, and I decided to go take a visit. So yeah, definitely awesome to get that one. And as you guys saw, I got that one in the trade with Noble Records, which was really cool. So yeah, King Crimson bootlegs, like literally any of them that I see, I'll pick up. There was another one there, but unfortunately this one was so expensive, and the other one was just as expensive, so I decided to be a little bit less of a jackass and just pick one. The other one I left behind, I believe, was pretty much the same track list, same era and everything, but it was a different label and a different show date, obviously. So yeah, if that's there the next time I go, I'll probably pick it up, but I didn't want to get them both at one time because they were so expensive. But yeah, I picked this one up because it was the amazing Corny Phone. I like the track listing, especially since it had 21st as the closer. The other one was just straight Lark's Tongues and Aspic all the way through. So yeah. The next things all come from Grassroots Music in Ocean City, New Jersey. I was in town for vacation for a couple days, and I always go there because they're fair priced and their stock is always really good and their staff is super friendly. So yeah, the first one I picked up is Townes Van Zandt live at the Old Quarter, Houston, Texas. I'm not the biggest country music fan on the planet, but Townes Van Zandt is one of my favorite artists of all time. This man's writing, this man's ability to channel everyday human ideas and, you know, observations into well-made music is just kind of unrivaled in a lot of ways, like him, Elliott Smith, and like Nick Drake. But yeah, this is a 2009 repress of it. But yeah, this is just Townes live. A lot of people say they like the Townes live stuff better than, say, the studio stuff because his personality was more able to be there. He wasn't being restricted in the studio and all that. But yeah, I mean, my favorite Townes record is his self-titled, but this one is absolutely amazing and essential for country music as well. So yeah, his story is very tragic and a lot of his songs are very tragic, but he had this beautiful way of writing about it. It's very soothing, very comforting, so it's very cool stuff. The next one I picked up is The Residents, Not Available. Again, this is a repress from 2010 on MVD Audio. So yeah, pretty much any Residents records I don't have, like, I'll pick up. This is one of their most classic ones, obviously. But yeah, I'm not going to fully show you it because it's just black vinyl. But yeah, Residents, very weird, kind of avant-garde experimental stuff. And yeah, they're kind of like just a continuation of the idea of pushing music to its absolute limits, freaking people out, but also kind of having these amazing musical ideas underneath it. Just really weird stuff, but you can tell that these guys were extremely intelligent and knew exactly what they were doing. Next up, I've been looking for this one for a decent little while, and this is Void / The Faith. More known as The Faith / Void, but we don't like to talk about this side as much. This side, however, is one of the greatest pieces of hardcore ever created. The Void side is just amazing. Obviously, you know, Faith had it bad because, you know, he was Ian MacKay's brother, so he was going to get compared to Minor Threat and shit like that anyways, and he just wasn't nearly as good. The band wasn't nearly as good. The writing wasn't as good. He, as a vocalist, wasn't nearly as good. But this is just some pristine hardcore stuff, the Void side. I always tell people when they're getting into punk that the Void side is like one of the most essential things to listen to in especially American hardcore. So yeah, this is like a 2011 repress or something like that on Discord. Discord's reissues are always cheap. They're always very good, and they usually come with download codes. So yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. They're such a good company, and it comes with this little double-sided flyer representing each band. So yeah, it's just an absolutely essential hardcore record, as I keep saying. I wish they would just press it like this, because honestly, I would never listen to this side again. Like, as a kid, like a younger kid getting into punk, I was like, you know, it's kind of underrated. But like the older I get, I'm just like, man, like this should have just been the release. And I know they like have done that on Apple Music and stuff, but yeah, I wish there was just a pressing of The Void, to be honest. Not to shit on Faith, because it's decent and everything, but it's so far outshadowed by Void. So yeah, this was awesome to find. This is an original Arista press of the Taxi Driver soundtrack. This is one of my favorite movies, just like many people. This soundtrack is absolutely awesome. It's just some great like noir-y type jazz stuff. Again, I'm not going to pull it out. It's just blue Arista labels here. But yeah, this movie, it's just got that really chokingly dark, grimy aesthetic to it, and the music fits that unbelievably well. This is great music to drive to work to in the morning, in my opinion. It's just so soothing, but it has like that dark edge to it. It's just great stuff. I've been looking for it for a while, so yeah. And the last thing I picked up at Grassroots while I was on vacation is this repress of Saxophone Colossus by Sonny Rollins. I just was going through my collection recently, and I was listening to jazz a lot, and I realized I don't have like too many jazz records. Like I have a decent bit, but I just don't have many, and I don't know why that is. So I decided to pick this up while I was there. Obviously, this is amazing. You got Sonny Rollins on the tenor, Max Roach on drums, Tommy Flanagan on piano, and Doug Watkins on the bass. This is just an essential record. I mean, especially if you're trying to get into jazz at all, this is just absolutely essential stuff. This is a Prestige repress over here. I believe this was a 2017 or 2018 repress. It was pretty recent. So yeah, it sounds super clean. Sounds fantastic. So yeah, pretty cool. Again, just didn't have a lot of jazz in my collection, so I wanted to get more of it because obviously, you know, can never go wrong with some jazz late at night or whenever. So yeah, and then pretty much the rest of this stuff comes from my local place, which is Record Revival in Quakertown. I had a lot of stuff I traded in, again, doubles and stuff like that I had, and I got quite a bit of cool stuff. And obviously I purchased some of this with my own money, so I'll try and distinguish it when I can. This was $2. This is ABC's The Lexicon of Love. I had never heard this album until like a month ago. One of my Instagram friends posted it on their story, and it looked really terrible, and that's why I added it. I was like, there's no way this can be good, like, stop lying. And I listened to it and I was like, wow, this is some great like new romantic, like new wave, like it's a really creative record. And again, I found this for $2. It's an original Mercury press, so yeah, pretty cool stuff. Very happy to have that one, especially for $2. The next one is a like 70s repress of songs of Leonard Cohen. This one was like $5, but I think I got this one for free with my trade and stuff. So yeah, you know, Leonard Cohen's debut, not much that really can be said. The guy was an absolute monster with his writing, and you know, there's not much really to be said about these early Cohen records that hasn't been said, especially since he's passed away. I mean, Songs of Love and Hate and this, like, yeah, it was just an album I didn't have. I saw it for like really cheap, so why not? The next one is an upgrade copy. This was actually found for $2. This is Neil Young's On the Beach. I had a repress, but for whatever reason, it was super surface noisy. And so when I saw this for $2, I had to grab it. I believe that this is an original pressing over here on Reprise. So yeah, Neil, I mean, you really can't go wrong with any of the Neil stuff in like the 70s, like this whole era. His writing was just absolutely impeccable. When was this one released? It doesn't say, and I'm not going to look for it too long, but yeah, the whole 70s period for Neil was amazing. Obviously the 80s didn't treat him too well, like many artists didn't get treated too well in the 80s, but yeah, this is just a great record. Like I said, my repress was super surface noisy, so I found this for $2 and it plays much cleaner, so that was awesome. This I got specifically for one reason, and you guys who know my love for Kanye will know why. This is the Diamonds Are Forever soundtrack, you know, the James Bond one, and obviously the Diamonds Are Forever song was sampled by Kanye for Diamonds of Sierra Leone, which is one of my favorite Kanye songs, one of his best pieces of work in my opinion. So yeah, I saw this for $2 and I was like, there's no fucking way I'm not, even just for my Kanye fanship. So yeah. Then I decided to try this album out for $2. I had never heard this before. This is Spanky and the Gang, self-titled. I just saw like the cover and I was like, cool, it looks kind of psyche, looks kind of interesting, you know. But yeah, this album is not good. Yeah, it's just really dull, very boring, everything that psychedelic rock shouldn't be. It's more like psych pop if I remember, but like it was so dull, I like zoned out halfway through it. It's just, yeah, you know, I always try out psych records if they're cheap, you know, for $2, like why the fuck not? Like I'll just give it to somebody if I don't like it. So yeah, that I don't recommend personally speaking, but you know, always got to try new things. You're not going to win every time. Next up is this 70s Sire repress of Climax Blues Band, A Lot of Bottle. This is just some really cool, like, obviously like blues rock type stuff, very heavy, very hard hitting. Like I said, this is a Sire repress over here. So yeah, I saw Noble Records talk about this recently, I believe, and I saw this for $5, so I was like, yeah, I'll give that a shot. I like pretty much everything he recommends most of the time, so yeah, just really cool, really good stuff. Very happy that I found it for that cheap. I don't care that it's not an original because it sounds good, so that's pretty cool. And then adding more to my Psych Garage stuff. This is Blues Magoo's, Basic Blues Magoo's. This one was free with some of the stuff I traded in. But yeah, you know, I'm a huge fan of Psychedelic Lollipop. That album's awesome. And I had never heard this one before, so I saw this for super cheap and I had the credit, so I grabbed it. And this is an original on Mercury over here. So yeah, was just super stoked to find this. I hate how this is packaged though. I hate these like fold out covers like this. They're always so annoying and they rip so easily. But yeah, just didn't have it. Wanted it. Got an original for cheap, technically for free with my trade-in stuff. So couldn't say no to that one. I took a chance with this one as well, but this one actually panned out in my favor. This is The Eyes of Mine, Tales of the Turquoise Umbrella. So this is like one of those Paisley Underground, like, psych revivalism albums that was happening in like the 80s. And this one is fucking awesome. This is like some kind of post-punky, but more psychedelic, like poppy type stuff. It's an original press on Vox over here on black vinyl. But yeah, this one I decided to try out because I had the trade credit and I was like, I love the title, I love the name, the cover's super psyche, so why not? And yeah, this one really panned out in my favor. This is just some great stuff. Hoping to find more of their stuff because most of their stuff is not on streaming. So yeah, if you guys ever see this album around on like CD or vinyl or whatever, definitely pick this one up if it's cheap. It's a great psych record and I haven't seen too terribly many people talking about it. This one I also got for free. This is Jimi Hendrix Isle of Wight. I think this is like an import from the UK or something, but yeah, it's not in the best shape. Obviously the covers are coming apart. I have to get some of those seams, easy splits, tombs from the Man Cave always talks about. But yeah, this is a Polydor copy. I don't remember if this is an original off the top of my head, I'm sorry. But yeah, you know, I'm into Hendrix quite a bit. So if I can get Hendrix stuff for free, like it's pretty cool. So yeah, I actually don't think I've listened to this one fully yet on vinyl, but I will have to get to that soon. If the seam split would be working with me, that would be awesome. All right, mission accomplished. But yeah, Free Hendrix, can't say no. Cannot say no to that whatsoever. Next up, I believe I got this one for free as well. This is John Cale Vintage Violence. I think this is a second Columbia press. So yeah, John Cale, I mean, man is a fucking genius. Everything from the Velvet Underground to helping Nico out, and a lot of his solo stuff is absolutely fantastic as well. So yeah, like I said, it's like a second press right here. I'm not going to pull it out because it's kind of hard to get out of here. But yeah, great record. You know, his early couple records are fantastic, and you know, being a gigantic Velvet Underground fan, it's really hard for me to say no to anything I see with any of the members associated to it. So yeah, I've been looking for this one for a minute. I was happy to find it. You know, it was cheap, technically free again. This next one I paid for, but that's just because it's a great fucking record, and this is XTC English Settlement. Yeah, I believe this is an original Virgin Epic press over here. But yeah, just a fantastic record. You know, not much I can really say about XTC that hasn't been said, especially since, you know, the internet has been allowed to thrive. XTC, I think, has become one of those bands that's gotten way more popular with the internet. I could be completely wrong about that. Again, I wasn't alive during this time. But I feel like a lot of the time when I see like best albums of all time lists from like kids my age that are into music or like around the general same age, some XTC stuff usually pops up. So yeah, this was cool to get. Next up, I also paid for this one. This is an original discreet press of Overnight Sensation by Zappa and the Mothers. Just a Zappa album I didn't have, one of his better ones. But yeah, like I said, just didn't have it. It's an original discreet press. I think I got this for pretty cheap. Fuck these bags. These are awful. I just don't have any replacement sleeves right now. I'm waiting on them. But yeah, you know, the most Zappa stuff that I find that's an original that I don't have, I'll buy, even if I don't like it necessarily. But this is just one I didn't have that I love a lot. This was awesome. I paid for this one too. I believe this is New Order Brotherhood. This is an original press over here. But yeah, I just didn't have a ton of New Order stuff on vinyl. They're one of, you know, those bands that everybody just fucking loves. So yeah, like I said, I think this is a first or a second press of it. I can't remember. There's like SRC and ARC or some shit. But yeah, the sleeve on this one is absolutely fucked, but it has the original sleeve, which is cool. But yeah, I just can't say anything about New Order that really hasn't been said before. They're one of the most essential groups of the 80s, especially. You know, they don't have too many like bad albums necessarily. I really don't think they have a bad album necessarily, but their 80s work into the early 90s stuff was definitely their best, and this was in that run of albums. But yeah, just great record. Didn't have it yet. Was very happy to find an original. This I technically got for free with my trade-in as well. This is Tim Hecker's Inoyo. I pre-ordered this through my store, and he was just like, okay, like, you can take this one with your stuff. So that was pretty cool. Again, if you guys saw my top 25 albums of the year list post, if that's up yet, this is on there decently high. So yeah, can't say enough good things about Tim Hecker. He's one of the most essential ambient musicians of all time. His use of texturing and layering is absolutely amazing, and he creates sounds that are literally inhuman sometimes with how interesting they are. Next up, this is a Jazz Wax repress of Ascensor by Miles Davis. Not going to try to pronounce the rest of that. But yeah, arguably my favorite Miles album pre the Fusion era. I don't know why this one has always just appealed to me so much, but this is probably my favorite of his cool jazz stuff, personally speaking. But yeah, this is absolutely awesome. The movie that this accompanies is also absolutely awesome. So if you've never seen that and you're a fan of this album, I highly recommend it. It's a great little film. So yeah, just didn't have this one yet. Was very excited. Again, trying to add more jazz records to my collection slowly but steadily. Just because I find that when I want to listen to jazz, it's like I have like the same like dozen albums to go back to. Sorry about that, my camera just died, but this is Prince Piano and a Microphone 1983. Now, I've been a huge fan of all the archival recordings that the Prince Estate has been putting out. This one is absolutely beautiful, and that originals collection they just put out is spectacular. But yeah, this one's absolutely awesome. This is like the demos kind of to Purple Rain and some of the early like 1999 songs. But it's just really cool to hear Prince so intimate, because Prince, obviously, he was a gifted musician. He had a lavish life, lavish stage performance, and it's just really cool to hear him kind of like tuned back a little bit, just hearing the skeletons of these songs. And especially since this was the first thing they released after he died, it was kind of harrowing when it first came out to hear this, because it was just like he just died, and just hearing him so somber at the piano, just laying out these tracks for what would become most people's most essential Prince album is it's quite an experience, and it's fantastic. And I just hadn't got this one yet, so I made sure to pick this one up while I was ordering my copy of the Originals collection, which should be here I think next month. This one I also got for free with my trade-in stuff. I also forgot to take the plastic off this one, even though it's already open, because I'm a stupid head. This is the Velvet Underground live at the Cole Avenue, Dallas, Texas, 28th of October, 1969. If that's not a tongue roll of an album, I don't know what is. But yeah, I have a couple of these songs on various Velvet Underground boots that I have, but I never had this full performance. And this is a bootleg that was just released earlier this year, and I got this at a store, so that was pretty cool. I think it's interesting that that culture is still alive and sneaking its way in, because stuff like this is cool. Like, if the band's not gonna fucking put this out, why not let other people release it? That's just my opinion, at least with live stuff. But yeah, just really cool. It doesn't sound the best, but it's really cool to hear any Velvet Underground live stuff. And like I said, I've heard a couple of these songs before, but I hadn't heard I think some of the stuff on side 2 before, so that was pretty cool. This was awesome. I got this for $2, believe it or not. And it's in great shape. This is Talk Talk, The Color of Spring. They must have had this in the $2 before Mark Hollis died, because literally every single Talk Talk record after he died like shot up way stupidly in price. So that's why you always go digging in the $2 kiddies. But yeah, this was awesome. Like I said, this is an original press too, and it's in a really nice shape. I just played this the other day, and only the first song has a little bit of surface noise. After that, it's just a little dusty. So yeah, this is really awesome. You know, Talk Talk, not much I can really say. It was a devastating loss losing Mark Hollis, because the man just almost had no like finality with music. Like, he had made music and stuff and like everything, but Talk Talk wasn't really that popular until rather recently, at least in terms of appreciating the musicianship of it like that. A lot of musicians like him, obviously, because, you know, your favorite musician's favorite musician, but like, it's really been good, I think, seeing a little bit more talk about this group with his passing, even though it did take his passing for people to start talking about them more. But yeah, I mean, albums like this, Spirit of Eden, and of course Laughingstock are some of the most essential records of all time, in my personal opinion, especially Laughingstock. That's like one of my all-time favorite albums, and I would love to own a copy of that someday, especially an original. And then next up we got various artists, but mainly Phil Manzanera and Brian Eno, 801 Live. I had never heard this again until very recently. I picked up a shift at the record store. I don't work there anymore. I don't know if I ever told you guys that, but I do not work there anymore. But I picked up a shift because one of them was going on vacation. I had the free day, so I was like, why not? I like working there, and I can pick up some cash, maybe some records. And this was traded in a collection while I was working, and I told him that I had never heard this, and he was like, you need to get that. So yeah, this is an original US Island press. But yeah, this is an amazing record. It's like art rock stuff. It's obviously like, you know, Eno. That's why I bought it initially, because I was like, yeah, I'll buy anything with Brian Eno's name on it, because I'm a fucking idiot who loves everything Brian Eno ever did. But he told me that Phil Manzanera was the one that shined on here, and he was absolutely right. The Tomorrow Never Knows cover on here is bonkers. Great stuff. If you guys have never heard this and you're a fan of like art rocky stuff, you know, your Enos, your Roxy Musics, give this one a fucking go. Like, I'm sure it's like more talked about than I may know, but I've never heard anyone talk about this one, personally speaking, in my circles of music and ever really. So yeah, we're getting down to the last 3 here. The next one I got for free. This is Alice Coltrane, Journey in Sachidananda. I always fuck that up. I apologize. But this is one of my favorite jazz records of all time. This is just some absolutely amazing spiritual jazz. Obviously, Pharoah Sanders is on here. So yeah, this is a 2003 Impulse repress. But yeah. Not much I can really say. I mean, she was a jazz harpist. First off, that's awesome. And the way that everything was incorporated, this literally just sounds like you're transcending into another plane of existence. Like, it's so heavenly. It's so lush. It's just so incredibly played. It really just tugs at your heartstrings a lot of the time. And yeah, not much I can really say too much about it, except the personnel is Alice Coltrane on the harp and piano, Pharoah Sanders on the soprano sax, Tulsi on the tambora, Vishnu Wood on the oud. I've never heard that, or probably mispronounced that. Cecil McBee on the bass, Charlie Hayden on the bass, Rashid Ali on drums, and Majid Shabazz on the bells and tambourine. So yeah, very happy. I've been looking for a copy of this for years. I've just never run across a copy, and I just haven't ordered one off Discogs or whatever. Would love an original copy, obviously, eventually, but this Impulse repress is great. Impulse is just such a fucking great label. The second to last one, this is, the name of this band is Talking Heads. Had just never owned a copy of this before. This is like one of my favorite live records of all time. I've talked about the Talking Heads and what they mean to me a lot, and they're just one of the most essential bands of all time, obviously. So yeah, this is an original press on Sire. Comes with both of the crazy image inner sleeves here, and like I said, this is an original Sire press. So yeah, just very cool. Didn't have this one. I got it for a nice price. It's a little dinged up on the cover, but again, that never hurt anyone. The records are pretty much near mint. So yeah, very happy to get this one. This one sounds great, as do most Talking Heads records on vinyl. And last but not least, this was most definitely the cherished piece of this month. I just picked up an original copy of this thing recently, but this copy landed in my hands, and so this is the Psychedelic Nuggets compilation. I think last vinyl updates or the previous one, I picked this up. You know, it's your standard Nuggets compilation. You know, the originals are hard to find, so it's very cool. But this one's very special because, and excuse me that I just hit my mic, this is a white label promo copy of it. I have never seen one of these in anybody's videos or in person or anything. But yeah, it's a not for resale copy. It's a radio station copy. It actually specifies on the label. So yeah, this came into the record store I go to all the time. And he offered it to me for a very good price. I mean, it was priced good initially, but I was buying a bunch of stuff anyway, so I got it a little bit cheaper than it even was. And I still paid less than what a standard normal original press of this goes for in good shape. And this literally is like, the records are near mint on it. Like, it's crazy, like, that I own this. Like, I've never seen one of this, and I never even knew that this existed, but like, this is just too cool of a piece. I mean, this record really did help a lot shape my life and a lot of my music taste, and it does for a lot of people. So this was just super fucking awesome to find, and this is definitely one of my favorite, absolute favorite pieces in my collection up to this point. So yeah, that is everything that I picked up this month, guys. Let me know what your favorite thing that I picked up was down below. And while you're in those comments, hit that description, check out all those links, like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to watch a video at the end of this one. Until next time, guys, have a nice day.